Hopefully the comments will work this time. Hello everyone. Hello guys and girls and pets and whoever's sat watching. Oh. So this one may be a tough one to discuss, especially on my own, talking to myself basically. This one is the malpractice and false diagnosis, continuity of care, all that stuff that tends to be misguided or looked over when it comes to our care system. And before I get come at by my American viewers and my American family, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that we have free healthcare. We do not need to worry about it. But that does not mean that we should have to deal with the low standards of care that we have started getting. The care of whether it's our healthcare system, whether it's our private care system, because we do have private care as well as NHS, being brushed off because you go into the doctors because you're young and you get looked at and smirked at, and you're on a 5-minute call and they don't know exactly what's wrong with you because you're on a 5-minute call with them. So it is going to be a tough one to talk about. More the fact that we don't have anybody else's stories unless people would like to leave them in the comments. We are live here on Facebook. We are live here on YouTube. And so, yes, the technology is still up and running. Apparently, we have 2 viewers. Can somebody leave a comment in to test out my comments to see if that's actually working on Facebook, please? Because last week, none of my comments were shown to me for some reason. So anyway, having certain discussions of, like I said, it's going to be a little right, I see someone has commented, but it's not showing me what that comment is. And now it's knocked my screen right down. And come on, give me that back. Right. No, I don't want to end the chat, the live. So it's not showing me the comments again. And this is what I tried to get on this way for. Anyway, one of the issues I have when it comes to malpractice or misdiagnosis is the fact that you tend to get misdiagnosed because of malpractice. And the malpractice I've come up against a lot is the fact that they're not taking the time to actually either see or spend time to understand certain parts of the problem that you're there for in the first place. Or they'll just blatantly ask you, what do you want me to do about it? Well, isn't that why I'm here? Because you're like, I'm not the doctor. I came here for you to tell me what we're supposed to do about it to get the problem correct. So I've had two issues that I can think of off the top of my head where I've come against. I've had a hearing specialist and apparent mental health nurse. I was on the phone for a matter of 5 minutes with both, and they instantly dragged down what the doctors had said. So I was sent to the mental health nurse by the doctors to assess for OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. OCD does not always have to do with cleaning, organization, checking things number of times. Doesn't always have to do with. There's many different versions of OCD. So my version of OCD is organizational and cleanliness. So I have to have my home clean or I'll go just overwhelming. And organized. I also don't like things being in equal numbers, which is strange because you normally find people don't like things being in odd numbers. With mine specifically, I have to have a centerpiece. I have to have something to centerize everything. So all of my ornaments, all of my anything that I actually have on shelves or anything like that will have a centerpiece. If I have a coffee table, it'll have a centerpiece. Then everything works outwards. My doors, I'll check several times over before I actually settle for bed, which is worse when my partner's not sleeping because I have to protect my girls. I have to protect my home, and that will constantly go through my head. Obsessive compulsive disorder is compulsions. It's exactly as it says. It's obsessive compulsions. It's a thought that won't leave you alone until you have actually done it. Now, the doctors told me that I showed signs of this. I had signs of this, but I needed to go to the mental health nurse. Now, the mental health nurse had basically spent 5 minutes, maybe less, on the phone, asked me certain things. And I will tell you word for word what this mental health nurse said. The reason she came up with that I do not have OCD. She asked me if my table was disorganized and somebody shouted to me that my child had been knocked over outside, would I finish that table off first or go to my child that could potentially be becoming unalive on the side of the road? And I stated that obviously any good parent or any decent parent would go to the child, regardless of how much it messes up here. In here would take over. Your parental instincts should take over. That doesn't mean that I don't have something wrong up here. That means that I'm a parent that is going to sit and actually protect my children. But by me stating that I will go to check on my child, even though that table might still be here, and that knowing that that table, give you an example, my table used to have square mats on it, but I will put them into diamonds rather than squares. So if I know that I'd left 2 mats that was in squares instead of diamonds, I could have shouted to somebody to sort out my table while I went. Or if nobody was there, that table would still be up here. But I'd still go and sort my child out because that's what a parent does. I'm a parent first. I'm a parent before I've got these issues. These issues, my health problems come after being a parent. So they stated that basically I didn't have OCD. Even though the doctors had stated that I did, the doctors had stated that I had OCD tendencies, but they'd stated that I didn't have them because I would choose my child that had been hit by a car over cleaning my table. Anybody that chooses clean, and I stated this to the counsellors and I stated it to her herself, anybody that chooses to clean a table, regardless how it makes them feel, how tense it makes them feel, over their child that's just been hit by a car, should not have custody of their children, because that is potentially dangerous for their children. You would put your child, the danger of your child, under cleaning a table. And I might get some slander for that. And if I do, fair enough, whatever. That's my point of view, my opinion. This is what I said to my counsellors, my statements. I will be upfront and honest with you. This is what speaking out fearlessly is about. I'm not going to ask you to say stuff that I won't admit to saying myself. And that is exactly what I said to them. I should not have custody of my children if I would put my table before my child, regardless how it made me feel that my table in my house was not clean to my standards. So that's the first one I came up against that I do believe was malpractice, because it felt like she was trying to get me off the phone as fast as I got on it. It felt like she didn't pay any attention, didn't take me serious in any way whatsoever. And it was just, it felt absolutely awful. Lo and behold, I did go to a counsellor. As she stated, I could refer myself to a counsellor, which I did. And I got tests done by counsellors. And they stated that stated I could refer myself to a counsellor. Which you get off there. Right, I think I have a way of watching your comments. I think I've started a way to watch your comments. So could someone please comment, let me know, so I can see if that shifts up. But anyway, so yes, I did go to the counsellors, and I did, as she stated, I could self-refer to the counsellors, which I did do. I had testing done, and then well, I've just seen Jonathan Stevens say testing 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you've only just sent that one or not, but I think I might be able to see them now. So yes, getting back to it, when I got the testing done, it stated that between what I should have scored on the test and between what I did score on the test was hugely marginal, and there was extreme signs of OCD. They then referred me to the OCD counsellor specifically, and he stated himself that there was huge signs of OCD, as well as other things, as well as other situations. There was signs of, apparently, what was it? Relationship. I can't remember how we put it, but basically it was that I hold people to a standard that I expect people to be, and when they don't, it sort of affects me in a different kind of way than it would normally. And I also have relationship trauma, because I expect people to hold morals and decency and to basically act with morals and decency and act with suitability and stuff like that. Then when I see it, it's like, when I see it not happening, it's like it's crushing, and it completely drags me down to a hatred to everyone and everything, and that no one in the world is good and all this stuff. So but this is, and this extended from a doctor sending me to a mental health nurse that told me I didn't have OCD. But then it turned out I had OCD amongst other stuff. And that was just one case. I've been going back and forth to doctors for years, for my ears, my head. And again, like I said, this is going to be a hard one to talk about because I don't have other people's stories. I don't have anybody on chat to share stories. So all I can go from is my own stories, my own issues, things that I've seen others go through. I've been going back and forth from doctors for absolute years about headaches and pressure and tendinitis and everything going on in my head. The only way I could describe it to a doctor was feeling drunk without the alcohol. I'll go dizzy, I'll lose vision, my head will feel like somebody's constantly filling it with cotton wool to the point it's about to burst. Just to clarify, on these days, I do not drive. I don't want anybody coming at me going, well, you shouldn't be driving, you shouldn't be doing this. The days that I know these are going to set up, I don't drive. I do have little telltale signs, and I do listen to them. And if I don't, my cat does. I have one of my cats actually knows when my head's going to start up, and she will make me sit down. So I've gone to the back, like I said, I've gone to the doctors back and forth for years about these headaches. They've been put down to tension headaches, migraines, stress, everything you can possibly think of. These headaches have been put down to. And I think it was last year. No, it wasn't. It was the beginning of this year. The beginning of this year, I went to the doctors because I got yet another symptom, and my doctor stated that she wonders if it was Meniere's disease. So Meniere's disease, for anybody that doesn't know, and I'm not trying to call anybody stupid, I actually hadn't heard of it until the doctor said it. So Meniere's disease is basically fluid building up around the inner ear, and it can be like that for years and never go away. It can be that it's been like that since being a child, which would explain why I had the hearing issues and ear problems as a child. Or it could happen as you get older. There's not much known about Meniere's, and there is no, other than a medication to try and take down other than a medication to try and help the symptoms, there's not a cure for it. So one of my doctors suggested, that no longer my doctor now because she left, suggested that it may be Meniere's disease. So I got treated for that. I went to the hearing up at the health centre first. And they agreed with my doctor. They said it definitely sounds like Meniere's disease, and I have loss of hearing in my left ear. So, but those hearing up at the health centre, those hearing doctors can't actually diagnose the Meniere's disease. They have to send you to a specialist first before it can get diagnosed. It has to be diagnosed by a specialist. So I agreed to everything. That send me to a specialist, fair enough. So they sent me to this specialist. This specialist phoned me. He had never spoken to me. He literally had possibly looked at what was said on my files. He'd never spoken to me, never listened to anything that I'd said. The first thing he said after he introduced himself was, I don't think it's Meniere's. I was like, well, the doctor seems to think it's Meniere's, and the hearing doctor seems to think it's Meniere's. I don't think it's Meniere's. I think you have migraine-related vertigo. That's instantly, before any special test had been done, before he'd spoke to me properly. That was instant. I believe it's migraine-related vertigo. I'm like, right, okay. He goes, but we'll get you in for the testing anyway. Fair dues. Now, when I went to the doctors for the hearing doctors up at the health centre. They spent at least 35 minutes with me doing my hearing, getting the different sounds and stuff like that. And they agreed with my doctor. When I went to this specialist, I felt like I shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have been there. I just didn't feel like I was took serious at all. The person brought me into the room. He spent a little over 5 minutes with me. I wouldn't say it was I wouldn't say it was 10. It might have been 10 at most. But I'd say 10 minutes at the very most he spent with me. And he sat the whole time, and my daughter was in the room, who wasn't very amused with his way of, was just unprofessional. He sat slouched like this on his chair with his mouse clicking away, rather than upright and professional. And you just got the feeling that they just weren't. Well, they were there for the paycheck, and that was it. Which a lot of the feelings you get these days. A few weeks later, I'd still not heard anything from results. I then phoned them to find out what the results were. And again, I was told, oh, doctor didn't find anything. He just believes it was migraine-related vertigo. But nothing had been said to me. No one had been in touch with me to tell me this. So I got back in touch with my doctor, went back to my doctors, told my doctors exactly what was said, and she laughed. She laughed at them because she said, no, it's not. She said, it's not migraine-related vertigo. So now we're coming up to, I have had new symptoms. I am also, hearing's getting worse. And so now I've gone to the second doctor, which is my head doctor, and told him exactly what had happened, what had been said. He has now sent me back to the hearing doctors up at the health centre and is going through all of that again. But he's also put me on the tablet for my ears to try and help with the tinnitus and the dizzy spells and the pressure in my head, alongside my other medication that's supposed to help with my headaches. So that was the second time, to my knowledge, that I could remember it being. A lot of the time, I think it's down, and again, this is not, I'm trying not to put it in a prejudiced or any sort of way. I think a lot of the time when you're young or younger, because I'm not exactly young, I'm 39, nearly 40. When you're younger, you go in and they look at you and they're like, well, you're too young to have this problem. You're too young to have that problem. You're too young to have hearing problems. What are you complaining for? My daughter broke her arm when she was a year and a half. And I'll not go into details. It wasn't any sort of neglect or anything like that. She just broke her arm. She had an incident and she broke her arm. But she broke her arm when she was a year and a half old. And she started getting pain in this same arm. And she went to see the doctor, which we now refuse to go see. And he asked her, what do you want me to do about it? Well, we're here because we can't do anything about it to stop it hurting her. So we want you to do something to stop it from hurting. Or at least try. Give us some suggestions. Work with us to try and figure out if it's the break. I said to this doctor, I think it could possibly be the break where she broke her arm because she had the pop taken off 2 weeks early. She had it took off after 4 weeks rather than 6. And the doctor stated, no, won't be that, she's too young. Excuse me, she's had a break in 2 places. In that arm, she is not too young for anything. I think personally doctors need to take people a lot more serious and stop being there just for the payout. And it needs to be sort of spoken more about like malpractice and how much stuff's going wrong and the false diagnoses. I've been diagnosed for years that I had anxiety and depression. And after it took multiple trips to the doctors, multiple suicide attempts, the last one being April of 2024. And that's when they actually started taking me serious and started realizing and started listening that there may be something more to it. And now then I got sent to Merrick House after years of being told it was anxiety and depression, and it was just basically nothing. I'm now being tested for ADHD because of which could also explain the OCD tendencies or the OCD, because it can go alongside it. OCD can play alongside ADHD. I think I've been sat on my foot too long. And had that mental health nurse took more notice and done a proper I 100% agree, Beryl. Doctors do need to listen more. We live with our bodies 24/7. We know when something's not right. And for them to sit there and tell us, oh no, there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, is wrong. And especially when you're of a younger generation and you get looked at like you just no. But like I say, had that mental health nurse took more notice the first time I was sent to the mental health nurse, maybe the ADHD and all of the other issues, well, not all of them, but some of the other issues that I have had might have been caught a lot earlier than what they are now. I'm now 39 and I'm having to face potentially have spent nearly 40 years with ADHD undiagnosed without having help or medication or whatever's needed to be had. Instead, I've been medicated for anxiety and depression. Meniere's disease that I could have had my whole life, had that doctor took more notice the first time round. Had that doctor actually paid attention and his colleague had paid attention, then maybe they'd have caught the Meniere's a bit earlier, and I wouldn't have had to suffer with the problems that I've been having so much, and the arguments between me and my daughters because I can't hear them. The doctor that's sorting me out now actually asked my younger daughter what it's like to live with me, with my hearing. And even my youngest daughter told the doctor point blank, it's a nightmare. We can be having a conversation and she'll either zone out or she can't hear us. It's one way or the other. It's like not being able to have a full conversation with her because she can't hear or she can't stay focused long enough. Or when it comes to stuff like that, Jonathan, it's mental, and that sounds weird calling you Jonathan. When it comes to my back, I've had so many different things that they've turned around and said that I had prolapse discs, then I didn't have prolapse discs. Why do I think I've got prolapse discs? I actually had a doctor that said, why do you think you've got prolapse discs? So, well, because I went for an MRI and it showed prolapse discs. Oh, we'll send you for another one. But then apparently that one didn't show prolapse discs. I was like, right. So I've either got prolapse discs or I don't. So the false diagnosis is they need to be really, really careful when they're diagnosing people. I mean, there's somebody, I'm not going to state who it is, but there's someone that I know personally has been diagnosed with something serious for a long time. They were diagnosed with psychosis for a long time, and now he's gone to another part of the care system, and now they're stating he doesn't have he doesn't have that. He doesn't have psychosis. Apparently, he has anxiety and depression. So apparently he's going the opposite way to what I went. I went that I had anxiety and depression, and now I've got ADHD, or potentially got ADHD. But to me, that's a major malpractice and major misdiagnosis. If you've diagnosed somebody with psychosis that's lived years believing that they've got this wrong with their head, and now they're saying, no, you've only got ADHD and anxiety and depression, that could have really, really, and I say personally how bad that affected this person. For them to believe that they had something like psychosis. Now it's finding out whether whether it is psychosis or it's ADHD. But the work he's doing now is absolutely amazing compared to the work that was done with him when they were telling him he had psychosis. How far this person's come from being from then to what he's doing with the people he's working with now. He's come so far, and to be fair, if he watches this and he knows who it is, I'm so proud of him because he's doing amazing. But it's stuff like that where they misdiagnose something that could seriously have a major effect on someone's mind or health and I mean they take a vow of care. They have a value of care to the people they're looking after, to the people that they see on a daily basis. And instead, half the time, people are going in feeling like they're just getting rushed out faster than what they're getting brought in. And personally, if they did do what they have been trying to do and they're trying to take the NHS down and make it all private, they really need to sort all this shit out because you can't. Private care, this is not a standard of private care. By no way means is this a standard of private care. It shouldn't even be the standard of NHS care if to be made to believe that you're being pushed out the door. So how on earth are they going to make it a standard of private care? So I'm hoping I've done as well as I can do. To be fair, I figured this one was going to be a hard one to do on my own without having any other stories or anyone else sharing their stories, and basically was going to come for my own. And I try to avoid going to the doctors as much as possible because felt like what's the point in going? I'm either going to get put on another medication or I'm just not going to get took serious. They're not going to. It's just going to get put down to anxiety. It's going to get put down to depression. It's going to get put down. My aunt got told that she had selective mutism down to depression. I mean, I don't understand it. She's not depressed. My aunt is one of the calmest people I've ever met. But apparently she has, I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. She could be calm and everything in front of us. That doesn't mean that she's going to be when she's at home. To be fair, I mean, she has to deal with my uncle. So, yeah. Dealing with my uncle, I don't think I'd be the calmest person either. I think my dad would agree. And, but to state somebody can't speak because they are depressed and has selective mutism down to depression, who's had no issues with depression before, who's had no issues with selective mutism before, But from time to time, well, the majority of the time, she can't speak. So they definitely need to start taking the patients so much more serious. Some of us go in when things are serious. Some of us, even when they do get serious, aren't going in because they don't believe in the sector, in the care sector, and they don't believe in the value of care that we're being given. There's people self-medicating because they don't believe in the value of care, or they're just going to get looked down on, or they're not going to get believed that these things are actually occurring. My daughter hates going to the doctors because she believes that they're not going to listen to her. And I would state that was because of me, because I'm the same, but it's not. It's because when she has gone in, every time she's gone in, they've always turned around and said, well, what do you want me to do? What do you want us to do about it? We want you to do your job. We want you to do what you were trained to do. Find out what the issue is, and then if there's something we can do it. That's like me going in to a nursery, or me going into a healthcare setting, such as a residential care, being qualified to go into a nursery, being qualified to go into residential care, and then standing in front of them and going, so what do you want me to do then? I know there's all this stuff that needs doing, but what do you want me to do? I know you've stated to me that there's a problem, what the problem is, but what do you want me to do about it? It's like going into a home care setting. I know you've stated those dishes need washing, but what do you want me to do about it? Do your job. It's what you were trained for. You can't sit there and have people come in and expect a decent value of care, and turn around and say to them, well, what do you want me to do? How could you expect to be a respected doctor or nurse or healthcare professional or anything else, to be fair, and then go in and turn around and say, well, what do you want me to do about it? You wouldn't go to a restaurant and order food and then the chef come out and go, well, what do you want me to do about it? Cook it. Go to a shop and the shop assistant go, or the cashier go, what do you want me to do about it? So why would you expect to go to a doctor's or a hospital and for them to turn around and go, well, what do you want me to do about it? You wouldn't. The value of care needs to be risen a lot. And they need to stop just thinking and seeing as it being just another person. Just another person to deal with before I go home. Before I go have my tea. A few more hours and I get to go home and have my tea. It's another paycheck in the pocket. No, it's people's lives and people's mentality and people's humanity that you're messing with. when they're malpracticing and misdiagnosing and failing at the value of care. So we have a few people on view now. I hope the fact that I've only been able to work with my own stories and stories that I know from other people, I hope I've done the best job I possibly can on this chat and this live. It has been a tough one to keep going, but I will. Well, I'll let you go enjoy either the fireworks or enjoy the rest of your night, as it's 10, nearly 5 to 7 in the evening. We didn't get no names for our mascot sent to us. So what I'll do is I will pick some names, or if you would like to, put some names in the comment on this video, and I will do a poll, and the one with the most on the poll will win, and we will name our little mascot, our panda mascot. So this is our mascot, who was supposed to get named on this live, but we didn't get no names for him or her, because we don't know what the name's going to be, so we don't know if it's a him or a her yet. So if you drop your names in the live, and we will set up a poll to name our little mascot. I hope I've done the chat and speaking out fearlessly well, and hopefully we can start boosting up these numbers. Hopefully our health sector will. I know my one video is not going to make a difference on the care sector, but never mind. We need to start speaking up. We need to start speaking out. And this is what speaking out fearlessly is all about. Speaking out about whatever comes to our mind, whatever comes to our hearts and feelings, whatever we want to speak out about. Now, next week's is a very triggering and very tense subject. Next week's is recognizing and dealing with childhood trauma. So it may be a tense one for some of us, but if you would like to join the chat or via video link, you are more than welcome. Just drop a like and a follow, jump over to YouTube, subscribe, and drop us a message. Let us know that you would like to be in next week's videos. Like I said, it is about childhood trauma and healing from that. How any ideas or how we've experienced and how we've healed from it. Please share our videos. Please share Speaking Out Fearlessly page. Remember, this page is not Speaking Out Fearlessly. Speaking Out Fearlessly will be tagged in the page, in the video, sorry. Please share Speaking Out Fearlessly, though. It is much appreciated. And I do appreciate all the support I've been getting from friends, family, viewers. It means a lot. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. We do need some suggestions for future videos, if there's any suggestions you would like to give. And I think that's about the end of the video. So stay safe, everybody. And I will say goodbye for now. Bye.